Welcome to you, my name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Today is a bit of a reflection chat video with you all about some common themes that are across my recommended feed in YouTube in the luxury community, and I guess adding a little bit to the conversation that is well past its use by date on luxury influencers giving up on luxury, but more so from the perspective of why do we get so affected by it. And I think there are a number of things that I've kind of, themes that I've pulled together that I wanted to talk about in this video, and I'm wondering if it's not just me, if I'm not alone, if there are things that you think about as well. So the first thing that I was thinking about when a lot of the chat was happening around various luxury influencers selling all of their logo inspired pieces and giving up luxury was, for all of the reasons they explained, new awakening, what's important to them, what's not important to them, probably more so, what they want the world to think about the decisions that they are making, hence the public announcements. There's that part of it. Then there's also the part of maybe they've just fallen out of love with it. Maybe there is such a thing about turning your passion into a job, into your main income source. That means it's no longer a passion. It's no longer interesting. It becomes really competitive and it's work, and something you used to take a lot of great joy and excitement from now is paying the bills. And that can be pretty onerous. And I know that both Amelia Rose, who had a pretty successful channel called Amelia Rose Talks Finance, and I started a channel for a brief period of time called Proving Potential. We both stopped publishing to those channels because it kind of related too closely to what we do for work. And both Amelia and I talked about how we realized that we did YouTube for escapism and fun and creativity and a way to connect with people who have similar interests that probably don't have a space to share them in their natural surroundings. And by virtue of creating a channel that, yes, we both had a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge and expertise and experience, doing that on top of working in those areas, it wasn't enjoyable. It didn't make sense. And so I have a level of empathy for influencers who are maybe taking a change for whatever the reason, to say that, yeah, if something that you love or you're good at becomes an absolute drag because you have to do it, like for me, it's cooking, right? I love to cook. But if I have to cook every single night and every single lunch and every single breakfast, I would hate it. I cook when I'm inspired, when I feel like it, and I really enjoy it because of that. So I think in a way what I'm trying to say is maybe, just maybe, when you turn your passion into a job, sometimes it can backfire. You can have some really good years, maybe, but soon enough it tends to wear out. Sophie Shohet similarly has created a new channel where she can just be herself, because every time she brings content, probably like this video, to her luxury channel, it doesn't do very well. So she wants a space to present the other 90% of her life that is not luxury. And I think that makes sense. The next part of the conversation though is, if they're doing it, what does it mean for me? What does it mean about me and my choices? And I think this is where a lot of the opinion starts to get pretty emotive, because some of the reflections of others have us feeling perhaps a little insecure about ourselves. And in this section, I'm going to share some of my insecurities with you and how these topics affect me. And I would love to know if they have the same effect on you and what can we do about it and what does it mean for us. So the first one is the giving up on luxury. And if you own and buy luxury, if you spend a lot of time reviewing luxury pieces, if you talk about it, if it's a hobby for you to shop, then perhaps you've got a problem. And when people say on their videos, I have a problem and this is what I'm doing about it, they haven't said that we, you and me, have a problem, but it feels implied. And the reason it feels implied is because that's what we hear, not necessarily what has been said. And I think, to me, it does. I called my YouTube channel DaylesAddiction because there was no hiding the fact that this is a part of my life that I am really driven by. Yes, it is not compared to any other, terrible, disparaging addictions, and I'm not playing down on those, but it's to be realistic and say, this is something that affects me, that takes up a lot of my time, and that I invest a lot of money into, and let's just put that straight out there. So there's, no denying it. It's not Dale's occasional indulgence in luxury. It's not that. And I'd be kidding myself. And you guys would point it out to me if I thought it was that. But I think being affected by somebody else's choices, if we weren't thinking, is this out of control? Is it still serving me well? Is it starting to impact in areas of my life that I don't want it to? That would be more concerning than if we said, that does not apply to me, that is their problem and nobody else's, and I'm not even going to think about what those things mean in terms of me, my life and my choices. I actually think it's good that people get a little bit riled up and people have cause to reflect on their own decisions. I certainly do. It makes me think when people do this, am I doing what I want to do? Do I feel good about what I'm doing? Does it still serve me? And so far, yeah, it does. And if it doesn't serve them, that's for them. And I decide whether or not I keep watching their content or I don't. And I can tell you now, my subscription list is pretty full. So I don't have time to watch content that doesn't appeal to my interests. And so generally, I won't. And you don't have to either. Now, something that came up, I knew exactly what I'd said about Hermes, the journey and buying Birkins when I was surprisingly offered a Birkin in Paris. I knew all of that and I acknowledged all of that when I did my videos, and yet still people came for me. Did they come for me because they didn't think I deserved a Birkin, or did they come for me because they had done all of the things that you're supposed to do to get one and hadn't received one, yet I did? And so I received the projection of their unsatisfied wish lists. And is that fair? Probably not. Is it to be expected? Yeah, it is. Disclaimers are not there to say, hey, don't hate me, but. Disclaimers are there to say, I acknowledge all of these things, but I still have some news to share. And I think it says more about the people who are cranky at me than it does about me, that I have a Birkin and they don't, and they're upset about me having one. I get it. This game is not fair, and I certainly benefited from my situation, my relationships and my circumstance. But does that belittle anybody else's experience? I don't think it does. Now I want to get to talking about all of these weight loss videos that are filling my feed at the moment. Winnie is on a weight loss journey and she's been sharing it on her channel, Winnie BLV. Lisa has started a new channel. So Lisa from Luxury and Life in the Middle has started a new channel called A Little Less Lisa about her weight loss journey. Now, one thing that I will say certainly makes me feel like I need to check myself is when people I see who look healthy and well think that they have got work to do. And then I start to think, well, if they think they've got work to do, I wonder what they think about me. And I wonder if I'm missing a trick here. And I start to feel insecure about myself. It's nothing that they have said to me. It's their own journey. It's nothing that they have done. But I don't know if I'm alone in thinking that sees that in my feed and goes, oh, maybe I should be doing something about that. Maybe I should be taking some of these decisions. Raise your hand if you feel the same. And how does it affect you in your daily life? Again, it's not that anyone's pushing what they're doing onto anyone else. It's how you receive that information. What lens are you looking through? What context are you hearing that information in, and how is it appealing to some of the insecurities that you might have? How do you deal with that? For me, it's about making it clear in my mind that that is their journey and I'm on my own journey. And there are differences in how we want to approach things in our life and differences in our priorities. It doesn't take away from the commitment and the hard work that people are doing to achieve their goals. Nor should it take away from me and my sense of self-worth, because what's important for me at the moment is different. But it is hard, and I do want to share that with you because I think it has a lot in common with some other topics I'm about to bring up. Money, conversations around money and how people manage money. When you're watching those videos thinking, gee, I wish I had that level of disposable income. I wish I could pay for more of the essentials. I wish I could be picking up a bag every couple of months. What does it say about me at this point in my life if I can't do that? Well, it says that you're at a different point in your life and you have different priorities. The same as the weight loss, the same as whether you are buying or giving up on your luxury addiction. Another one that pops up for me, I'm often in a leadership context where people talk about the most important things in their life and they talk about their kids. And as a woman in her 40s who doesn't have children, it can be super isolating, because when you're talking about what's important in your life and you want to bring up your dogs instead of your kids, it feels silly. It makes me feel less than. It makes me feel like I just won't contribute at all. Now, nobody's putting that in my head. Nobody's saying that to me, but that's how I feel. That's a me problem. It's not a them problem. I have to acknowledge that that's how I feel in those situations and find a way to demonstrate worth and what's important to me that doesn't make me feel less than because I'm not a mother. Another one that pops up, and I know plenty of very educated women who've chosen to be at home with their kids for their, formative years, because for their family, it either didn't make sense to go back to work, they had the opportunity to spend that time, which is a rare luxury in itself, but the circles that they move in mean that they're moving in circles with women who do pride themselves on their work and their status. And potentially for those who aren't in those situations, despite the fact that most days they feel fulfilled and content in the work that they're doing at home with their families, they feel less than when they're with other people. Not because anybody has belittled their contributions, just because that's the lens that they look through. It's painful. And then the final example, those of us who are coupled up and those of us who are single. And when you share holiday snaps, when you talk about the things that you can do because you have double incomes, it can feel really exclusionary for people on the single side who go, when will I get a chance to be able to do those sorts of things? It's really apparent the difference in a double income partnership compared to a single, especially in this community where you're stretching your funds across a broad range of things. If you think about luxury YouTube, it really is lifestyle, it's, consumerism, it's the holiday, it's a lot of different elements. And if you're trying to do that on your own and comparing again yourself, your ability and what you can't do because of those situations, that's really tough. But again, it's a you problem. It's not other people's problems that that's your situation. But certainly to be compassionate to yourself and say, hey, listen, I'm not at the same point as that person. Therefore, those things are not priorities to me. Maybe one day they will be, but in the interim, I'm making the best of the situation that I can. And I'm really proud of where I am on my own. So I guess all of these contexts, I think, link together to something that's probably really important for all of us, is to consider what lens are we looking through when we watch this content? What are people saying versus what we're hearing? And then how are we reacting to it on that basis? Does it make you stop and reflect and check in? If it does, I think that's a good thing. If it makes you feel bad about yourself and your situation and questioning your worth, not so good. Maybe think about whether or not it's good for you. I'm certainly doing a lot of reflecting in that space, and I wanted to share my reflections with you. I hope that this video, when it's pieced together, all makes sense. I'd love to know what some of your reactions are, some of, perhaps if you're happy to share, things that trigger you when you see them on videos and they make you feel poorly about your own situation or yourself even, and how do you work through that and get to the other side and know that you have confidence in who you are and what you stand for, regardless of what anybody else is doing. Let me know in the comments section down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one.